out to those folks and ask them, check first, start with their websites, and put that to them. And probably only about 10% of our coffee have those, but because we decided that we're not comfortable enough with it, and that's why we're doing the whole Technoserve thing. It's gonna take a long time. We're finding stuff with Technoserve that we don't kind of want to hear. And so we have to go back, and it's harder than you think, so we have to go back and say, and some things are part of the culture too. I'm not talking about rape or terrible things like that, but even like families working together, like it could be part of the culture where the farmer and his kids, his wife, they're all part of, that they're working, and that's part of the local culture. Can you go in and tell them like your kids can't work? There's a lot of sort of cultural nuances that make it more challenging. But for us, and I think our guys, you talk to Phil, you talk to Matt, those guys are terrific, and they're out in all these growing regions all the time. So the best thing to do is go out there and you see for yourself what's going on. But I think the net of it is really positive, because what we're doing, we believe, because the better the coffee is, the better quality, the more money we're willing to pay people, and the more money consumers are willing to pay for our coffee. So to continue, that's our goal, is to help them with their agricultural techniques and everything else for them to create more coffee that more people are willing to pay more money for, and then it's a virtuous circle.
I guess, how do we stay in touch with, the way some of these ideas might get implemented, or is there a way to
That's a good question. Actually, what we can do, honestly, is I don't know. We can work through Catherine and whoever. We can find out. Maybe we can do an update or something. We can send you guys an email. If we get your email address, actually, I'd be happy to do it. Let's say maybe in a few months. I'm happy. I'll send you guys an email if you want. And for Talia and I, we'll figure it out, and we'll let you know what we're doing that we basically stole from. We're happy to do it, because I'm sure there'll be something. And even if there's nothing direct, we'll let you. We're happy to reach out. So we'll
feel free to go through me, and I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, so
if you're curious.
Yeah, so we'll get everyone's email here, and then sometime this fall we'll come back and get back to you. Just go ahead. Yeah.
In an ideal world, if everything goes your way in terms of branding, marketing, Technoserve, growing your brand, where do you see Pete's in 15, 20 years? Is it going to become bigger and better, like maybe Starbucks is worldwide, or is it going to kind of stay within certain boundaries and just kind of keep focusing on the quality, or where do you see Pete in, the future?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I hope to be long retired by then. But I think we're not, Starbucks does a phenomenal job. They've done a great job. And actually they do a lot of things for good. They did. And as a consumer company, if you look across all the companies that touch consumers, and I throw in Nike and all the great consumer companies you can think of, technology companies, they probably do as much good as anybody, and they're as successful as anybody. But also, when you're going to be that big, at some point you cross the Rubicon, you're not going to go back. So there's certain things you can never do really well. So for example, their coffee. Honestly, when you're producing that much coffee and serving that much coffee, you can't. So we're seeing it now. We're buying. 5 years ago, we were buying the same coffee, but as they get bigger and bigger, they're buying. I think it's something like 30% of their coffee is sourced from Brazil, which has good coffee, but 40% of actually 20% is Costa Rica, 20% is Guatemala, 40% of ours is Central America. It's better coffee there. If we can do that because we're not so big, we can do that. So we don't want to become so big. We're not going to become as big as Starbucks. We don't become so big where you lose the quality. What that number is, I'm not sure. We talk about scaling the smallness. So we want to scale the smallness. That smallness, which is our ability to have relationships with the farmers, to source the best coffee that we know is high quality, that was raised in the right conditions, and we roasted. We're going to build a second roasting facility on the East Coast. We're in Alameda, next to Oakland, and we basically have 10 or 12. We saw a picture of the roasters that actually can roast the coffee. We're able to scale that, but we'll be $1 billion, about $825 million business this year. We'll be about $1 billion in 2 years. So Pete's could be, $2 or $3 billion business, I think, and still do what we do really well and be really special. I think when you become too big, And we're not gonna have 12,000 stores in the US, we'll have maybe 500, but in the right geographies. So I think, I see us as like a $2 or $3 billion business that's, you know, that's creating hopefully great job opportunities for people, supporting the, you know, our growers of origin, helping them enrich their lives and their families, but also having a really great coffee experience that others can't match. And as far as it's a very competitive category. You guys are showing the fills, you know, there's fills, there's blue bottle, there's all these little guys coming up, they can do things differently, there's Starbucks over here. We're kind of in the middle, so we're trying to distinguish ourselves in different ways. It's not easy.
With the opening of the new roasting plant on the East Coast, do you have any plans to open a store on Long Island?
On Long Island? We'll get to New York eventually. I think New York's a tough market. You know, I think we're gonna, you know, we're in Boston, we're in DC, we're in Chicago. In New York, we're in like these Capital One bank cafes that we're in. But we're gonna get to New York eventually, New York area, probably like within 2 or 3 years. New York's really competitive. The real estate's really expensive, and so it's hard to make money there. And there's actually really good coffee shops in New York. So you know, Pete's, you know, because we're young, Intelligentsia and Stumptown, we kind of play in New York through them. So Stumptown's got a couple of great cafes in New York City. Intelligentsia has one. They're going to build a few more. So we think that Stumptown Intelligentsia might be the best way to play in New York. Yes.
So I'm guessing you're Pete's biggest cheerleader, but what is your biggest frustration with the company in general? Like what, I don't know, like
My
what?
biggest frustration with the
Yeah.
company? What's my biggest frustration with the company? I would say, and we're getting better, our willingness to change and do things differently. So there's kind of a strength of having the heritage and having done things certain ways and knowing that it's the right way to do it. But the problem is the world is changing so quickly, and consumers are changing quickly. Whole new generation of consumers right now are drinking coffee. You guys were talking about it. New competitors, new technology. I think we've been a little bit slow to sort of embrace doing things differently. Because the problem is you don't want to do everything differently because then you lose your sense of self. But I think it's about change. I think companies that are most successful, for sure, in any category, are companies that are willing to embrace change and have people who work there who really get excited about change.
So one of the values that we thought a lot about in our group was community.
Yep.
And I think that, especially with the verification challenge, but with all of it, we sort of focused on like a broader global community and then connecting with Pete's to the source. And that's obviously really important, but how do you guys think about sort of enriching the local community and sort of, when we talked about millennials and the specific subset is kind of like an exclusive group. So how do you kind of like balance that?
It's funny, we did some work, some consumer work, not like a year or two ago, with, actually, I think it was with millennials primarily, and to talk about some of the stuff about origin and supporting origin and talking more about it. And actually what people told us is that, yeah, we like that, but we want to know what you're doing in our community here. And so we do a lot of stuff, like every year, every Christmas, every store has their own event, and they basically raise money for a local community organization. Actually, that's another thing, we didn't talk about that. But we have like 250 essentially different events. So that's one way that we do it. Try to get back and connect that way. But there are probably other ways we can do more of that. And, in our near our home office, so we're in Emeryville. Emeryville's right next to Berkeley, and we were founded in Berkeley. We do a lot of stuff in the Berkeley community. So we support the Berkeley Repertory Theater. We do a lot of stuff there. The food bank. So we definitely do, like within the certain radius of our headquarters, we invest a lot. But then each store, the idea is each stores, we want to encourage them to do stuff as well. Okay, so keep you guys from lunch. So anyway, so again, great job. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Hopefully this kicked off your 4 weeks here. Right in the way. Great ideas. Great job presenting. Great collaboration amongst you and how you guys kind of handled the presentation. And just, thank you for your time and enjoy your time. So
We did like 10 hours.
My workout for the day.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. And let me do one with splash.
Instagram is nothing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Chickens spread outside in the plaza for Mike's house.
Same thing, you're on plaza.
And also,